Hello folks, welcome to Legacy IAS. In today's video, we'll be discussing about the political part of your Pandyas. Alright, let's get into the video. Now, when we say Pandyas, okay, they are one of the early medieval empires of your southern region, right? The area, this southern region or this southern belt was captured, or the power was distributed among three factors or the trifecta, right? That is your Chola, Chera, Pandya. The video for Cheras will be linked in the description box below. Please have a look at it. Now today we're talking about your Pandyas. Now we said trifecta, okay? Now these trifecta was also called as Movender. The three predominant powers that they struggled among themselves, and there was huge power struggle among this. Alright, now this is the region we're talking about, your Pandyas. Okay, they occupied the southern and southeastern. See, actually this is not the exact scaling, right? This is just for your assumption, okay? Just to show that they are for the southern and southeastern region of Indian Peninsula. Alright, now when you say Pandyas, okay, more of confederacy. What do I mean by confederacy? See, there was multiple subordinate chiefs, okay? Subordinate chiefs were there. There were a large number of subordinate chiefs looking after a particular area, alright? Now, these chiefs were loyal to the king and they held that, okay? They swore allegiance to the king, that is a Pandyan ruler. How did they swear allegiance? By paying tax, right? By giving him gifts, by accepting him as the sovereign ruler. Thus, the Pandya kingdom had a lot of subordinate chiefs under them, okay, who were in turn looking after the regions. Your Pandyas were more focused in the valleys of, okay, Tamaraparani and Vaigai, right? Your Vaigai is modern day, okay, region it forms of Madurai. Alright, next, the chieftains. We just spoke about the subordinate chieftains, large amount of them were there. All of them is swearing allegiance to your Pandya king or the central administration, who they considered as their, okay, sovereign authority. Alright, that is how the Pandyan Empire was constructed. Alright, next. Now, the regions of Pandyas at that point of time, when you compare it to today's point of time, what will be the districts under them? Tirunelveli, Madurai, Ramnath districts and southern Travancore regions fall, that is today's these regions fall under the previous days or the medieval times Pandyas regions. Alright. Next, their capital was Madurai. Right? Their royal symbol or emblem was your fish. Alright, a royal emblem was their fish. Korkai was their most important port. See, now these two things I want you to consider, the emblem and the port. You don't know where this port is, right? But I also told that the region is somewhere southern and southeastern. So the port will lie on this side only, right? And when I said fish as their emblem, which side are they more leaning towards? Mainland or coastal? Port area is their important feature of trade. One is for trade, other is for, right? That is the importance of fish being the emblem. Alright. Now, see, this is the region I was telling. The southern and more of your southeastern region. Okay. This is the port, okay, of your Pandyas. This is the most important port for them. This is their capital. Alright. The region is southern and southeastern. Alright. The early Pandyan kings were Nedion, Palshe, right? These are the early Pandyan kings. Now more in detail about them. Okay. See, Nedunjalian, okay, he was a brilliant Pandyan king, yes. Name appears in Silapadikaram as well. We'll discuss about this particular king a little more in detail later. As of now, is a Pandyan king. His name appears in Silapadikaram. We've discussed Silapadikaram as nothing but a literary source, okay, which provides us insight and information about the three kingdoms which existed as contemporaries Chola, Chera, Pandyan. Okay, now we're talking about Pandyas, and the literary source of Silapadikaram mentions or gives the credibility of your Pandyas. Alright. He lived at the same time as Chera King Senguttavan. Again, we have did a video on Cheras. Please do have a look at it. Alright. Next, Nedunjaliyan too. Alright. He defeated Chola's Chera Confederacy. Alright. And he conquered the majority of the Tamilagam region. Okay. Or the Tamil region. The region name was also called as Tamil region or Tamilagam. Alright. Now this king, okay, Kadungon Pandyadi Raja became his title. If you break at it, Pandyadi Raja. That is this title, Rajadi Raja, Pandyadi Raja. Okay, the best of best. Alright, he is best known for bringing an end of Kalabra rule, ushering a new era of Tamil speaking region, or that was called as Tamilagam. Alright, next, Maravarman. Okay, now he assumed the title of Maravarman. Okay, now look at this. Traditional Pandyan inscription praises this particular king, claiming he became sole owner of earth and married the goddess of prosperity. I want you to observe two important things here. Sole owner of earth and goddess of prosperity he married. Okay, the literary sources give us the credibility and validate the events. But there are also times where there are certain amount of exaggerations or symbolism seen in this literary sources which cannot be taken as the reality. Understanding? This is the proof of that. Understanding? Next, Jayantavarman, Selian Sendan is another name for him. Right? These are the kings who were ruling. This was the earlier phase. Now these were the rulers who were ruling in the earlier phase. Now in the later phase or more established phase, the rulers were Arikesari Maravarman. Okay. Now this is the another name for him. Okay. He carried out the Hiranyagarbha and Tulabhara raids. Now when you say Hiranyagarbha, Tulabhara, for example, Tulabhara is your weight on weight. Okay, if you think of particular event or an auspicious event or something should happen in favor to you, okay, you pray or you think you will give the offerings, whatever those offerings may be, gold, silver, rice, okay, whatever it may be, to the weight of something. Okay, you will give those offerings to the weight of someone or something. Okay, these were the rituals performed by the kings. Alright, now it could be for prosperity or it could be for wellness. Okay, either of those. Look at this. Kottapalya Ranadhiran. Okay, the movie that was made. Alright, it was in modern day Mangalore. Okay, this is he asserted Pandya's superiority over Cheras and Cholas. Alright, Maravarman Rajasimha 1. Okay, Kottapalya Ranadhiran's son and heir. You've seen about this movie that came, right? Kottapalya by the name, something on these lines. Okay. Next, Shri Marashri Vallabha built numerous tanks, canals, reservoirs. Okay. One such thing, for example, your Pandyans are very well noted for is their interest in temples. Madurai is called a city of temples. Right? We'll discuss that in the later part of the videos. As of now, look at this. Varaguna Varman, okay, contemporary of a Shaivite saint. See, Maravarman Rajasimha, okay, he was the last Pandya emperor, okay, where the defeat, his confederacy or basically his own, okay, the power block being your Chera, Chola, okay, defeated or ended the Pandyan rule. Alright, next. We would discuss a little bit more about Nedunjaliyan one. See, he is mentioned in Silapadikaram. Again, we've spoken that is a literary source. Right? According to Silapadikaram, look at the scene. That is Kannagi, who brings her husband to the city of Madurai, okay, to start a life afresh. Let's not get into the entire story. Just this particular courtroom scene we'll talk about. Right? Where she gives her anklets. Look at this. These are anklets. Okay. Now, She gives an anklet to her husband to go sell it and get the money so they could start over a new life. He goes and tries to sell it and then somehow gets caught with the royal guards, who also tell that the queen's anklet was also missing, and they assume this was the anklet. When they found it, they said this is the anklet and executed him wrongfully without even knowing how further, whether was it true or no such things were carried on. So they executed her husband without further proceedings. Right? Angered by this, Kannagi comes to the court, okay, of this particular king, Nedunjalian, and she asks for both the anklets. She asks, okay, there's a reason why we're discussing this. She asks, in the anklet of the queen, what was there? Okay, he tells particular precious stones, maybe red rubies as of that. She tells, my anklet, okay, had good amount of pearls. She breaks the anklet which they thought was the queen's anklet, it had pearls. She also breaks the queen's anklets which are opened up to your things, okay, proving a point that the king executed a person without proper trial. Angered by this, she curses. Okay. Now, the king is mentioned in Silappadigaram as the story. This is fine. For the political part, we said this particular king is mentioned. This validates. Another thing is, so she also tells that something about pearls being in her anklet, emeralds or rubies being in the anklet. So when it was proven, okay, this provides a case, or this proves the point that the pearls or precious stones, okay, of this particular place was in huge demand for trade. In reality, the trade, we just saw the port, one of the reasons, okay, one of the commodities that was in huge demand was your pearls, precious stones such as emeralds and rubies. Alright, this is another story that validates that particular point. This is how we take literary reference and see what was. I'm not telling this is the only way, but this is one of the ways how your literary source is providing as a key factor for knowing how the trade went on, indicating how the administration was, how the prosperity of the kingdom was. Right? Clearly indicating the Pandyas or the empire of Pandyas were more prosperous. Understanding? Next, this is your Vaigai river, okay, the flourishing zone of your Madurai or Pandyas, okay. Next, the trifecta, Chera, Chola, Pandya, alright, southernmost, southeasternmost, right. Next, fish was their royal emblem and a royal emblem, alright. We have discussed on this before. Okay. Nedunjalian too, we have discussed about it earlier, where he defeated the confederacy of Cheras and Cholas. This was the battle in which he defeated the confederacy of Cheras and Cholas. Alright. The Moovender is like the three biggest forces at that point of time being Chera, Chola, Pandya. Alright. So each of them were the reason for each other's failure or each other's execution, each other's end. Alright. Next. See, this is actually the old port town of your Korekai, that important port area. Okay. This is the contemporary, okay, excavation of the port town. Alright. Now, when it comes to the kings, right, the political part or the emperors, right, here, alright, they are credited with a lot of literature, okay, wars, right, and also on their personality. But again, the literature source or the sources that give information on all of these aspects could either be a symbolism or an exaggeration, right? To an extent, it could be either metaphorical, symbolical, or it could be an exaggeration. Either way, that is largely seen in this period. Alright? Next. This is their royal emblem on their coin, right? Nothing but your fish. Alright? Next. what is the source we have? Okay, that we are telling so and so happened during Pandya Empire, Pandyan time and all these things. First thing is Megasthenes Indica mentions about the Pandyas, the trade, all those things, right? Pandyan Kingdom famous for its pearls as well as precious stones, right? We have discussed about this story earlier slides. There are also certain instances where we see it was ruled by women. So we could see the matriarchal influence, ruled by a women. Okay. In otherwise, see the contemporaries were Chera and Chola, right? They were more of patriarchal in nature, and on that point of time, a matriarchal influence is a pretty interesting thing to know about. Alright. Next, Brahmi inscriptions, okay, of 2nd century BC, okay. Nedunjalian presenting gifts to Jaina monks, indicating, see, there was, see, the majority religion here was your Hinduism, right? But still they were religiously tolerant, okay. Now this provides the source that they were religiously tolerant and also of the source of the presence of this particular king. Alright. Next, let's look at Pandya Kingdom in a overview. Let's look at the overview of Pandya Kingdom. Alright. After the Kalavaras, Pandyas established their dynasty rule in southern Tamil Nadu by the end of 6th century CE, Common Era. So their timeline is 6th century. The early medieval, the beginning of medieval or the end of ancient, okay, that is the beginning. But somewhere they proceed up to the medieval age, right? The first Pandya king mentioned in Sangam works so far is Nedunjalian I, okay, ruled from Korekai, the port town we discussed, right, up until the mouth of Tamarabarani river. Alright. Next, Pandyas were movenders. What is movenders? We have discussed Chola, Chera, Pandya. Alright. Now, one interesting feature about your Pandyas is your megalith. See, that is true for Cheras, Cholas as well as Pandya. Megaliths, okay, inscriptions in Tamil, Brahmi, right, Sangam literature, all these three, okay, that is megalith burial, inscription in Tamil, Brahmi and Sangam literature are the highlights of this movender. 3 chiefs, 3 important things. Alright, that being megaliths, Tamil, Brahmi and Sangam literature. Alright. Next, we also have the accounts of Marco Polo, Wasaf, Ibn Battuta. Alright. Next, copper plates, royal insignia. Alright. These also mention, sometimes the grants they give to temple also speak about the king, about the political administration, about the social administration, about the economic lifestyle. Okay, so this copper plates could be either for donation of land grants or for the temple. Okay, so this way also we have a source. Alright. Now this is your contemporary Vaigai festival. Okay, that is still held in city of Madurai. Alright. Now that's it for the video. If you do like our content, subscribe to our channel, share it along with your friends. Thank you.